Today, the whole world is passing through a very bad phase called corona pandemic. The coronavirus has spread all over the world, and many people are dying, many are affected by that. The economies of the nations are in deep troubles, and we are facing an unforeseen problem, and a problem that has never occurred in the human history. But I always think that we're looking at the whole scenario from human beings' point of view. We are facing health problems, we are dying, our economy is in deep troubles. It is our viewpoint to look at the scenario from nature's point of view, from the ecocentric point of view, as we call, not as a homocentric or anthropocentric point of view, but from the ecocentric point of view. I think it's just a corrective mechanism from the side of nature. Human beings have played a lot of mischief with nature. We have disturbed the balance of nature, and nature is just doing something that will remove the imbalance and re-establish the balance once again. Because for nature, maintaining the equilibrium, that is the its goal, we can say. For last 2.5 centuries, after say 1750, we can say, to be specific, we are hell bent on destroying the nature, the nature cycles, the nature system. We are destroying through our activities, especially the activities which are done through industrialization. Basically, it is the use of non-renewable resources, non-renewable energies, lot of transportation, lot of packaging, and so many things we are doing. And all these activities are destroying the nature. Resources are depleting, energy sources are depleting, pollution is on the rise, pollution of all sorts, chemical pollution, radiation pollution, microwave pollution, then ozone depletion. So many type of pollution are there. Global warming, basically pollution of CO2 increase. So many pollutions we are increasing. Water is being polluted, soil is being polluted. So many activities we are doing which are destroying nature. Waste is increasing, degradable waste, non-degradable waste. Both the types of waste are increasing. Biodiversity is decreasing alarmingly, and we find that our attack or aggression on nature is multifaceted, and nature is getting disturbed. The cycles are getting disturbed. The whole system is getting disturbed and to a certain extent destroyed also. So nature wanted to rectify the whole thing. It wanted to re-establish the balance, and for that, I think controlling the human activities that are done through industrialization was a necessary thing. And so it chose a, a very, I would say, a very ingenious way to control all this, and that is the coronavirus. Actually, virus did not do anything to industries. The virus did not do anything to aeroplanes, to vehicles, and anything, or railways. But it has miraculously worked on all this and corrected everything, because it attacked the human beings, and the fear of death of human beings resulted in lockdown of the whole nations, and then industries were closed down. No transportation, no aeroplanes, no railways, no road traffic, nothing. Malls were closed, shops were closed, hotels were closed, everything were closed. People are stranded in their houses, they are stuck up in their houses, offices are closed. And so the whole human activity, of the economic activity, we can say, has come to a standstill. And it is the fear of death due to corona that has resulted in a good situation, a benign situation for nature. Because as the industries closed down, as the traffic closed down, conservation of resources automatically started. The resource consumption has reduced greatly and they are getting conserved. The pollution, it has come down drastically. People say that from Jalandhar you can see the Himalayan snow peaks and all that. The rivers are flowing clean, and then you are seeing birds and other the peacocks and other creatures on the roads also. And it's a good thing for all other species than human beings, which actually should be the situation. And this has happened due to corona. So from nature's point of view, from the ecocentric point of view, it's a blessing in disguise for the nature. And I think it's a ingenious way of nature to control the human activities, and especially the industrialization. Within a couple of months, the whole corona, it became a pandemic, and then the whole world is in the fear, and no, so many people have died, especially in the developed countries. People have died like anything. In India, the situation is much better than that. Maybe our immunity is good because we don't follow the western method of living and western model of development rigorously. But in India also, we decided to lock down. Firstly, it was a total lockdown. Then it's a partial lockdown. The lockdown is being removed or slightly relaxed to a certain extent. But even then, people are afraid of this corona pandemic. Now, I always look at this thing not from the human point of view, but from the nature's point of view, as I said earlier. Because nature is a dominant entity. Whatever human beings do, we think that we are conquering nature, but it is not the case. Nature can never be conquered. The natural forces are too big to be conquered. And so, through a trivial thing like coronavirus, nature has controlled the human activities of industrialization, transportation, and market, and all that. So, my point of view is that we must learn a certain lesson from this. We must always understand, as an environmentalist, I always feel that we must understand that whatever development we are doing today is not the real development. It is the economic growth. We are erroneously equating economic growth with development, and this economic growth is at the cost of nature. By destroying nature, by depleting resources, by polluting the environment, and by reducing the biodiversity, we are achieving economic growth. This particular thing called development is basically wrong. This cannot be total development. Development has to take place along with nature. It cannot be against the nature. So there should not be any controversy between what nature wants and what human beings want. Ultimately, nature wins and human beings are defeated. And so, if we want to avoid defeats, such type of defeats in future, we will have to do everything in tune with nature. Now, how the nature system works? It works on certain principles, and we must follow these principles in our activities, individual activities, as well as social or national activities. The first thing is cyclicity. In nature, everything works on basis of cyclicity. Whereas for human beings, linear growth is our goal. I think the time has now arrived that we to put aside this our concept of linear growth, and our growth should be cyclic growth. Growth and reduction, they go hand in hand. And so, what nature gives continuously should be the basis for our living. There cannot be constant growth. When resources are limited or resources are finite, there cannot be infinite growth. When resources are cyclic, there cannot be linear or exponential growth. So our use of resources should be only of the cyclic resources, those resources which are available to us cyclically and at a uniform pace. So basically it is air, water, soil, wood. That always nature gives it, constantly refreshes itself and gives back to us for use. So our whole economy will have that outer limit of environment. How many renewable resources are available and at what pace they are available. So our economic activities should be within that limit. The availability of natural resources in quantity and in time. Secondly, the same thing about energies. In the 1750s, the new era started of industrialization, because we went for a source of energy that was coal or steam, as we call it, which was a produced sort of energy. Until that time, the whole human race, we can say whole human society, for centuries, for millennia, they were living only on the renewable resources, namely sun and wood. Coal was not used, steam was not used, petroleum was not used, electricity was not used. They are all invented after 1750. And so the destruction of nature started after 1750. Before 1750, there was civilization, but that civilization was in tune with nature. It was within the limits of nature. The economy at that time, there was an economy at that time, but it was a sort of steady state economy. It was not the growth economy. The growth economy started after 1750, when we had a continuously larger supply of energies. Due to larger supply, continuously larger supply of energies, technology became bigger and bigger. Earlier, prior to 1750, what technology human beings were using was very small, or in today's terms we can call it was an appropriate technology. It was a small scale technology. Its impact on nature was very less. Its environmental impact was very low impact technology. After 1750, as the energy started, we started producing more energy, the technology became bigger. It became it started creating more impact on nature, and destruction of nature started. So I think we should now limit our usage of energy as well as technology. But I don't think technology will have to be given attention to. If we reduce the use of energy, technology will become small and small. It will go on becoming smaller, because technology is a function of energy. When energy reduces, technology becomes smaller and slower. So I think we should focus more on energy. Same thing about resources. When energy usage is more, energy quantity is more resources are used, more resources are depleted. When energy usage reduces, we use softer energies, the resource part of nature is taken care of. Automatically, the resources start getting conserved, and they don't deplete at all. So due to it is the energy, 1750 is the watershed year, because we invented steam at that time. So I think we'll have to go beyond, we'll have to go prior to that time once again. It is the total wrong era of industrialization and development of 250 years, 2.5 centuries. We will have to go back before that time, where people were using energies, people were using resources, they were polluting, they were creating waste, but all was within limits of nature. I think we will have to go to that state once again. We cannot go on increasing our GDP or per capita consumption or per capita production. So that, I think, is the message that we can take from the corona pandemic, that we will have to downsize our economy. We cannot have a constant economic growth. We can only have a steady state economy, where there is a steady inflow of resources and energies, steady pollution which can be rectified or corrected or purified by nature. Whatever waste is generated, nature can degrade that waste. It will be degradable waste. Basically, there will be no non-degradable waste that will be getting created. There is a direct relation between non-renewable resources and non-degradable waste. Basically, we talk of plastics. It is produced from non-renewable resource called petroleum oil. When we stop using petroleum, plastics will not be produced. So all the waste that get produced will automatically be within the limits of nature. It will be degradable. Secondly, we will have to reduce the pace of our own life. We want everything fast and faster and faster. No, it can't be. Because for going faster ahead, we use more energies, we use more resources. And if we want to live within the limits of nature, this pace of life that we have achieved today has no place. And I think nature has shown us through corona pandemic that the pace of life need not be so high. All the aeroplanes are not flying, the railways are not moving, the buses and other vehicles are stand still. They are not on the roads, they are in their garage. And nothing much has happened. People are very living in their home. Okay, they are slightly unhappy because they are stranded there, they are locked down in their houses. But we have to think that is so much of transportation necessary? Is so much of traveling necessary? Does it have any meaning? Why did the corona spread to all over the world? It is because of the air traffic. We're unnecessarily moving from one country to another just because we have energy and just because there is money in my pocket. We pay for the aeroplane and we fly. We go for tourism, we go for job, we go for business. What is the need? The nature's model is one of decentralization. Today we are trying to centralize everything, and that centralization requires so much of transportation and traveling. In nature system, just cyclicity is one of the facets of nature system. Decentralized way of working is the nature's way. Nature does not centralize anything, because through decentralization, nature tries to distribute the workload equally all over the places. For example, nature produces oxygen, but does it get produced at one point and distributed everywhere through pipes or to trailers or to tankers and all that? No. Each and every leaf of a plant, each and every green atom of the green material called chlorophyll, it is the producer of oxygen. So all over the surface of the earth, there are green plants and they are producing oxygen. It rains everywhere, trees grow everywhere, small vegetative growth is there everywhere. Animals live everywhere, creatures live everywhere. They eat food everywhere, or it is decentralized. They effecate everywhere. The effecated material gets degraded everywhere. So the whole nature system works on decentralization, because decentralization is based on less use of energy. As soon as we start centralization, usage of energy increases. After 1750, we got the energies in our hand. We had energies in our hand, and due to that, what happened is centralization of the whole activity started, called as industrialization. Due to industrialization, the second thing that came up was urbanization. It was the concentration of population. And both the things we find today, they are severely affected by corona. It is the industrialized part of the world, industrialized part of the nation, it is affected more. Rural areas which are more decentralized, which are more in tune with nature, they are not so much affected by corona pandemic. So nature is trying to tell us that decentralize your whole thing. You can have a certain quantity of economic growth or economic development, but that should be a decentralized form of development. One more point I would like to put forward is that due to corona, what has come to a standstill are the mechanical processes, the factories, the transportation, the traveling, and all that. All the mechanical processes that are taking place on the face of the earth, they have come to a standstill. All the organic processes, they are going smoothly. There is no, corona has created no problem for them. Trees are growing, new trees are, the seeds are falling on the ground, new plants are growing. Then human beings are all their organic activities, they are eating food, they are defecating, new babies are getting born. All the human activities which are organic in nature, they are continuing without any problem. Does nature is nature trying to tell us that we should reduce the mechanical activity that we are doing? I think we will have to think in these terms also. Nature is telling us that all the mechanical activities we are doing have no place on this earth. So such type of industrialization, such type of markets, such type of communication, such type of industrialization, it doesn't have any place on the face of the earth. We must live without all this. Then what will be the situation like? If we go for this type of scenario, what will be the situation? I think this situation is very much what Mahatma Gandhi told us. It is the Grama Swavalamban. There should be a decentralized, rural-based country should be there, where there are lakhs of villages are there, millions of villages are there, and they are self-reliant. Almost whatever are the basic necessities, they are fulfilling their needs through through whatever they get within the radius of say 5-kilometer radius. Whatever they get, they are fulfilling their all the basic necessities of food, basically shelter, and some other things. And there should be least mutual dependence. There can be some mutual dependence with neighbors, but it should be minimum. It should be the least interdependence that is to be reduced. So Gandhiji called this as Grama Swavalamban. And Gandhiji was told this in Indian language, and in modern language, an American fellow, who is a world famous fellow called Alvin Toffler, he called this particular scenario of human establishment or human settlement, as a prosumer society. A producer and consumer is local. We produce for our own consumption and we consume what we produce. So he calls this as a procedural society, which is just, I think, an translation of Gandhian concept of Grama Swavalamban. And I think nature is trying to tell us that you will have to follow this particular type of human settlement. It should be decentralized and it should be self-sufficient. Whatever resources we use in this particular scenario will be renewable resources. Whatever energies we will be using, they will be renewable. So whatever pollution will take place, it will be very less. If we use solar energy or we use wood, firewood, then whatever CO2 emission is there, it is absorbed by the trees that are there in the vicinity. So the process becomes a carbon neutral process, as against a carbon positive process where we burn petroleum today and we only emit carbon dioxide in the air, and that is getting accumulated and creating the problem of global warming. To avoid that, our burning of fuel can be there. Nature allows that, but it should be within limits of nature. That means it should be a carbon neutral process. You can cut wood from the trees, burn it in the chula, CO2 is emitted, and it is used for again forming the wood of the trees. So the process should be local, and this is called as a carbon neutral process. Solar energy man is using from ancient times for so many things, for drying clothes or for heating our own bodies in winter or for drying the food grains in the fields. We are using solar energy. But this is a passive use of solar energy. And that is only the viable and good use, benign use of solar energy. We should use solar energy more does not mean that we should use solar panels. No, solar panels have no place on the face of the earth, on the earth. The solar panel is a negative form of energy. One solar panel, it requires much more energy than what it produces. So it's a negative form of energy. So using solar energy through photovoltaic is not the nature's wish. It is not that nature will allow. So we should use solar energy in a passive way. All the passive solar equipments, maybe they can, solar cooker we can use, solar dryer we can use, but not the solar photovoltaic, not the solar panels. So I think based on these principles, we should start living. When we use less outside energy, external energy, or the artificial energy as we call it, produced energy as we call it, we start using internal energy, bodily energy more and more. So again, it becomes a Gandhian principle of Shramadharita Jivan. It should be labor-oriented life, and the technology will also be labor-oriented. It will be labor-intensive as against energy-intensive today. This labor-intensive technology will have its own benign limits. It will be small, it will be light, its impact on environment will be much less. And so that type of technology, as Schumacher has called it is an appropriate technology, appropriate for the human being, because we will be using our own energy, which is not getting used today. We employ machines for doing each and everything, and then our obesity increases. We don't burn the sugar in the blood, we don't sweat, and then our energy that is we get through eating of food, we are not using it. So that energy has to be used for necessary work. So through necessary work, we will be using that energy. So it will be good for our health, and that will reduce our dependence on external energy. That will be benign for the nature, because all the sources of energy which are non-renewable, maybe coal, maybe petroleum, maybe uranium, they will get in concert. And then due to that, pollution will decrease. When we use my bodily energy, there is no pollution at all. As against when I use coal, there is pollution. When I use petroleum, there is a lot of pollution. When I use uranium, there is a lot of pollution. So all this pollution will end. Then whatever pollution will take place will be very less, and nature can very well rectify it through the process of photosynthesis. So I think we look for a pattern now, which is based on renewable resources, renewable energies, appropriate technology, bodily labor, and all this will reduce in reduced consumption. Today we call development as increase in per capita consumption. No, that cannot be called as development. Increasing our own consumption is not development. If we consume more and more sugar, it ultimately leads to diabetes. So that is not called as development. That is destruction also of the human body. So it should be a model of development that will be based on frugal consumption. It will be a model based on voluntary simplicity. Through appropriate technology, through renewable resources, through renewable energies, whatever we achieve, only that is allowed for our consumption. We should not opt for more consumption. We should never try to increase our consumption infinitely. Infinite growth in consumption is a fallacy. It ultimately leads to destruction of our own bodies and, of course, the nature externally. So the whole focal point now will become frugal consumption, voluntary simplicity, and whatever are the basic requirements for this type of living, they will be achieved through decentralized living, through use of renewable resources, renewable energies, and appropriate technology. So it becomes a new pattern of development, as we call it. And I think Corona is pointing us that human beings should adopt this particular pattern of development. And I think we must learn this message from Corona, that our whole model of development today is wrong. We are going on the wrong path. But when I look around, I find that people are just waiting for the lockdown to be removed. The nations are eager to again start their economic activity. They are doing so many things that the economic activity should again start. The industry, they are giving so many concessions and so many finances and all that for the industries to start. People are just waiting for the malls to open. People are just waiting to be hotels to be opened, and they are just eager to do all these things, business as usual, as we call it. No, I think we cannot do that. We must learn from Corona that the business as usual is a destructive thing, and we should never go for that business anymore. No more development, no more that type of development. We must go for a new model of development. And I think this model of development has been in practice, maybe in Bhutan or maybe in Cuba also. Cuba was also forced to change its model of development, and Cuba did it very nicely. So we should have these examples before our eyes. The goal of development should not be increased production, infinite production and infinite consumption, but it should be increased happiness. As Bhutan says it, how much gross national happiness increases, not the gross national product. So I think we will have to give attention to Bhutan now. How Cuba achieved full organic system, how Cuba developed itself, I think we must have to give attention to that. And if we don't do that, I think nature will have to take out another weapon to control human activities. So it will be a further severe action or further severe weapon than Corona that nature will have to take out. And we must keep in mind that nature has so many weapons with it. Corona, just after, say, in last June, nobody was knowing that Corona virus will do something within 6 months or a year or so. But nature has taken out that weapon, and the weapon has worked, nicely worked. So we must learn the message from Corona that this particular system is wrong, and we will have to change the whole system. And we will have to adopt a new system of development that will be based on principles of nature, cyclicity, the renewability, the mutual dependence, biodiversity, decentralization, honoring the limits. So many principles of nature we will have to adopt when we are trying to develop economically. That development will not be a microeconomic growth, but it will be a steady state economy. And that steady state economy will result in a lifestyle which will be a lifestyle of voluntary simplicity. I think we should learn this lesson from Corona. The sooner we learn it, the better.